Hello, everyone. You are here on the Posh Podcast. I'll pin this here and we'll introduce our guest, Jenny, Ms. Be Kind 818, in just a minute. So before we get started, I do want to do my disclaimer. It's the Posh Podcast. It's in no way affiliated with Poshmark. Just two friends chit-chatting about their reselling experience. Along with that, it is experience and anecdotal advice. So take it with a grain of salt, choose what you think is going to work for your business and leave what you don't. It's in no way best practice or posh policy. And as you are in the chat, just be aware that these recordings are going to be on YouTube. So your comments as well as your screen names will be on YouTube. But you're not in your banana suit today, Jenny. Is that right?
I'm not. And I think everyone, pictures me as the goofball. And I am actually a really sensitive, serious person. I'm very shy. You'd never know if you've met me on Posh. But hi, everyone. I'm Jenny, Be Kind 818. I live in Rhode Island. I am originally from Massachusetts. I have a whole lot of kids. I have two biological children. I met Tom, the love of my life, in 2015, and I inherited two stepsons that I helped raise. So we were kind of navigating life with four kids, which was a lot. And then a foster emergency situation kind of fell on our doorstep. We took two twins into our home in an emergency situation. It ended up being a foster situation long-term, and now it's a legal guardianship. So I kind of navigate my life with 6 teenagers under my roof. God bless my husband. God bless him. We have 2 golden doodles who are also adopted from a shelter, so they're rescues. And we just have a really busy life. I'm a nurse. I work full-time as a visiting nurse. I love it. I've been a nurse for 15 years. My love language is acts of service, caring for others. And I've really tried to put that into my Poshmark business and kind of interact with people and form those relationships. I don't know. There's a lot. I think people think that I'm like the simple person, but when I come on my Poshmark Live, I've probably been up for 12 hours and done a million things. And I probably have 75 text messages from my kids upstairs, asking me where their socks are and if they can get a ride to practice. And it's all about balance.
You already dug into that first question of we know you on screen and we know you in a show. So essentially putting on a show as Be Kind 818. So I love that you already dug into letting us know a little bit more about who you are as Jenny outside of your Poshmark persona. I can hear that you have a big heart taking in kids and a lot of rescue situations, both for the kiddos and for the dogs, the fur babies. And yeah, you do have a busy life, full-time mom, full-time nurse, full-time Posher, and I know you're such a good full-time friend to so many of us here at Posh as well. So when it comes to you, is there anything else you feel like is important that you want people to know, or when people say tell me about yourself, what would you say?
I just want to say, so I've always just kind of been a free spirit person. My parents are amazing. My mom raised me to be a free spirit, be who I am, not be afraid to, say what I want to say or do something silly or talk to a stranger in a store, Sometimes they talk back, sometimes they don't. I don't know. So my mom was always that really bubbly person in the room who would just draw people in. Right, with her wit and her humor and her, I just don't give a, this is who I am and this is who I'm going to be. And I try to instill that into my children. Growing up in 2025 is so hard, especially for teenagers. And I hope that they see me on Poshmark, trying to show people that it's okay to be different, right? It's okay to just act like yourself and not worry about what anybody thinks about you. I lost my mom tragically in 2019. Up until that point, I was that super bubbly person. She passed away of triple E, which is a It's from a mosquito, which is crazy. It really made me question life in general. I was like, how could something like this happen to somebody so beautiful and so full of life, right? The chances of that happening to my mom at 59 were wild. And I really lost myself at that point. I was so overwhelmed with grief that I forgot who I really was. And I couldn't find that sparkle. And Poshmark has been the outlet for me. I dove into work in COVID, working out in the field. And I homeschooled my children during COVID. And then I took in this foster situation, and I just kept taking on more and more and really, really lost myself. And when I stepped onto the Poshmark platform, I was able to find that sparkle inside again. It was something that really brought me joy. I was able to interact with others. And I'm grateful for that. I kind of found my people here, you know?
Said your mom was a really thrifty lady too, and it's almost like in her memory that you get to kind of carry on this thrifty legacy, and she is like carried on into your business too.
She was. And it's hysterical because we always said, like, thank God she didn't have a pickup truck because she would have brought everything home on the side of the road, you know? And I remember thrifting with her and, you know, thinking these treasures we found at the thrift store were like so amazing. You know, I never felt like I went without as a kid. I thought it was awesome. My sister, she's like, I can't believe you go to those thrift stores. And I'm like, it's awesome. You know, she's always like, are you there again? When she calls me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm here again. It's treasure hunting. You know, it gives you that high. And I love the hunt.
You said to bring the tissues when you were in my show yesterday, and so hopefully, you know, I felt that chills in me, and I have tears in my eyes too. I can't imagine what it's like to lose someone that you love so much, so I appreciate you being willing to share that and be vulnerable with us. You know, I'm sure a lot of us have had a similar situation, losing someone, and just knowing that it's really hard and it's okay for it to be hard and that it will get better. It sucks right now, but it will get better. That's such a nice message to share.
Yeah. And it's very easy to lose yourself when traumatic things happen to you. And we all have our stuff, you know, everybody's going through something. That goes back to my name, Be Kind. When I started homeschooling my kids during the pandemic, I had to come up with an email for the homeschool program that we were using. And I was like, be kind. Everyone is going through something right now, right? You hear people say all the time, you don't know what that person's going through that's beeping at you, you know, down the highway, or that's snooty to you in the grocery line. We all have our stuff, you know, so I try to spread kindness. Am I being mean 818 sometimes? Yeah, we all have our days. But that's kind of where my name stems from, is just remember that kindness is important and we all have our stuff.
Poshmark is Jenny Be Kind 818, and so you have kiddos and you have a full-time job and a husband and a house and dogs to take care of. So I'd love to hear, you know, how we went from thrift stores with mom and loving that environment into reselling, and then how you found yourself in Poshmark Live.
So I used to thrift just for myself. And I live in Middletown, Rhode Island, and there is a little church thrift shop close by. And I would always kind of go in there and just browse around. And I was in there and I found these two Lilly Pulitzer, like time capsule 1970s patchwork skirts. And I don't even like Lilly Pulitzer, to be honest with you. Like sometimes it's a little loud, you know? And I was like, but this is gold. Like some granny had these in a trunk and she's gone home to heaven, and this family just donated these skirts. And I want to say they were like $8 each or something. And I was like, holy moly, I'll take them, take my credit card. And I came home and I told my husband, I'm like, these are worth something, I'm telling you. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to go on, I had a Poshmark account, but I'm like, I'm going to, you know, go on eBay. I think they'd sell better on eBay, and I'm going to list these. So he's like, how much are you going to list them for? I'm like, I don't know. How much do you think? And he's like, I don't know, maybe like $40 or something. I'm like, no, I'm listing these for way more than $40. So I listed them for $45. $400 each, and he thought I was crazy. He's like, you're nuts. Nobody's buying those for $400. And I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm just, there is a butt for every seat. Like, somebody wants these time capsule skirts. So we went out for a dinner that night for a company dinner, and I listed them separately. And we're sitting across the table from each other, and my phone makes the like cha-ching noise. And I looked at him and I said, I sold one of the skirts. And then I hear cha-ching and the other one sold. So I sold both of those skirts for full price that night that I listed them. And I was like, whoa. I'm like, this is fun. I'm like, I love treasure hunting. And he says to me, well, why didn't you list them for more money? And I said, you want me to list them for $40. So that's kind of when I was like, listen, there's treasure to be found out there. And I started, picking up things and listing. And I have to say, my style on Poshmark has changed a lot. At first, I used to pick up what I thought people wanted, and I'd sell stuff. But now my goal is to go out and curate a rack to show people that makes me happy, that brings me joy. I love colors and patterns and textures. And sometimes I'm not even looking at the labels. I'm literally just touching and looking at things. I put my AirPods in so all the weirdos don't talk to me at the thrift store. And I just go through the racks and I look for all the colors and patterns. And it's so rewarding, and you are so much more successful when you get on camera and you're selling something you love, like this is an Old Gravy medium flannel, like nothing against Old Gravy, but I can't be excited about that. So I donated a lot back. I've learned what to pick up and what not to pick up.
I think I've heard that kind of key in a lot of these conversations that I've had is that it takes some spark of success. Like there was something that we were already doing that we loved, and then there was this spark of success that we had that we're like, oh, this thing that I'm already enjoying doing can make money off of, and that can just be the catalyst to keep going. And a lot of things I hear too is that it takes support system, because thrifting and reselling is not for the faint of heart. So I know your husband was there with you at dinner and was trying to get more money out of it, and you have all the kids. So do they have a role in the Be Kind 818 business as well?
I make them carry packages to the car. It's kind of like the groceries coming in the house. I'm like, okay, these need to go to the post office. Let's go. Ellie, my youngest, she does help me with my shows from time to time. And I think I've talked about opening a pop-up store here in Rhode Island. And my Instagram is Thrifty Beach RI. That's kind of my dream. I don't know if it will ever happen. Rent is much cheaper here in my finished basement. But they're all for it. They support me. Sometimes, it is about balance. They'll be like, oh, you're on Poshmark again. Do you have a show tonight? Kids are selfish. They want all of you. I think it's important to set guidelines, set boundaries. This is for me, and ultimately this is providing for our family. And I know at the end of the day that I am giving enough to them. So it's just about, figuring out that balance. I always say we're so hard on ourselves when it comes down to our kids, and taking on Poshmark has been a challenge. But we need to learn to give ourselves some grace. I tell myself all the time, I'm like, Jenny, this is your first time doing this. You're a 40-year-old woman who's never done this before. You're raising 6 teenagers. I think your kids think that you're supposed to have this all figured out. Every day is a new day for me too. I haven't done this before, And I think we forget that. We put all this pressure on ourselves to, be successful in Poshmark, do well in our job, be a good wife, be a good mom. And it's like, we're just doing the best we can. Give yourself grace. Don't forget that.
You want to give 100% to everything, but in reality, you only have 100% to give. So you kind of have to divide it up.
Yeah.
And you, I know, are super successful. So I can imagine you have your own shows. Everyone's recruiting you for train shows. And so Poshmark is taking a good chunk of your time. So the kids are like, oh, another show, Mom. And it's not just the shows. It's sourcing and prepping and sometimes measuring and then packing. But if you're comfortable sharing, I know you said that you found Poshmark Live as a spark, in a darker time. So if you want to share more about like how you found Poshmark Live from the Lily Pulitzer skirts into Poshmark and Poshmark Live, and then how you kind of got to this place who is just somebody who does look like they have it all together. I'm a full-time nurse, I'm a full-time mom, I got dog mom, I have great stuff, I'm successful, everybody's in my shows, everybody wants me for train shows. Just knowing that, we all had to start would be so wonderful.
Yeah. So first of all, I don't have it all together. Okay. My dishes from dinner last night are on the counter. There's mounds of laundry in my laundry area here in the basement that I need to get to today. Everyone's alive and fed under my roof, but I don't have it all together. I'm balancing what's important and what's not important in the moment. As far as Poshmark Live, I started watching shows. I'm like, I feel like I could do this. Maybe people would like me. I don't know. When I first started a year and a half ago, I used to go on to Poshmark Live and hold up that Old Gravy flannel, and I'd have nobody in my show. And I'd call my kids, can you get on Poshmark? Don't watch me. Just log in on your phone so it looks like there's people in the room. And it would be me, myself, and my iPad. Okay. And I would be like, hey, yeah, do you want a medium? And I would literally talk to myself. And then I tried to be all these other people that I saw on Poshmark. I'm like, well, they're doing this and they're doing that. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be goofy. I'm just going to say what comes to my mind. I'm going to pretend that these are my friends. I know them. And I just started, being myself, and my people came. And I think that's the biggest piece of advice that I can give is if you are truly your authentic, genuine self, I feel like your tribe will show up. And I've made so many connections and relationships through Poshmark Lives. I see names pop up, and sometimes I only know them by their username, but I feel like we're friends. Of course, this is a business. I do like to sell things, but I appreciate these people just showing up and being active in the chat, putting up with my shenanigans, listening to my singing, my dancing, and having a good time. And I'm going to tell you, as time went on, you said that I'm successful, and I don't think of myself as successful. Like, I don't even know how many likes I have on my flyer. I try not to think of those things. I try to just show up. And when people start showing up in the room, I'm like, okay, I'm doing okay. I'm still doing all right. For me, it's about being consistent. I started the Thrifty 50. I talk about balance. I realized that laundry does need to be done, and those dishes, need to be washed. And I have a lot of help here, but let's be honest, we take on the brunt of things in the home. I can't come down on Poshmark for 4 or 5 hours, and keep showing things. I have to separate my home life from Posh. So I came up with the Thrifty 50, and this has been really helpful. And this is just an idea. I pick 50 of my favorite thrifted items for the week. I throw them on a rack. We run that rack, and when we're done, we're done. I'll take some closet requests, but that kind of puts that cap on how much time I'm going to spend here. Like, these are my 50 favorite things. You want them? Do you want them? I don't know. And then I'm like, okay, I got to go cook dinner, and everyone needs clean underwear for tomorrow. So I just think that it's really important to set those boundaries and come up with something that works for you. This is something new for me. I'm really going to put it in place in the new year and kind of make that one of my resolutions, but just an idea.
I love that idea. I have found my shows going longer and longer, and I'm not finding work-life balance. So to find a way to take care of yourself while you're still trying to take care of all these people who are giving you, like you said, their time and attention, I think that is so it falls into be kind, right? You're trying to be kind to them and bringing them things that they love, but also you need to be kind to yourself and your family as well. And I want to go back for just a second because I know Brittany had said in your shows to start, when it was just you and your iPad, you had your magic hat. I did. I don't know if you want to give a minute of fame to the magic hat as well.
I don't know where it is at this moment, unfortunately. The hat.
This is it.
So this is her. And this is hilarious. When I first started on Posh, I picked up this hat. This is when I didn't know what to get. I was like, oh, this is kind of soft and nice. And look at the interior. And I put this hat on and my viewers went up. And I was like, Jenny, the the hat is working. So I started calling this my magic hat. And I don't know if people were just stopping to take screenshots and be like, what the heck is this girl's problem? But it worked. So all of a sudden, when I wasn't getting any viewers, I'd put this hat on and I'd show my clothes and everybody would stop and all my numbers would go up and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I had the hat on tonight. I had 25 people in the room. I can't believe it. So I will never sell this hat. I actually just took it back out for the first time in like 8 months. And I was like, oh my God, I don't need the hat anymore. It's always fun to put it on, but it's just a fun little story. I just wanted people to stop and watch. So I had to put the weird hat on and it worked. So everyone needs a magic hat. It's kind of like a security hat too. I don't know. I just felt safe. I felt like I was in costume, I wasn't as shy in the hat.
Well, I think it speaks to authenticity. I know you said that was one of the biggest things that you felt brought you success in your shows. Is like I was picking up things that I thought people wanted, or I was watching shows of people who I thought were successful, and I was trying to do that. And picking up things that other people might want and doing what other people do isn't authentic to you, and that's not going to make you successful. Right. So you have correct me if I'm wrong, a little bit of a quirky personality. So to be able to be in there and have your hat on and maybe let go of those inhibitions and be a little funny and quirky, you started to show your real personality and people stuck around for it. And you started to show the things that match that beautiful personality that you have and people stuck around for it. And now we get this awesome Jenny that we get to hang out with.
Yeah. And what I was going to say before, and then I lost track, is the most rewarding thing for me is I'll get off a show and maybe someone had a terrible day. They overslept, they got to work, their job sucks. Their kids are driving them crazy. Their marriage is in the toilet. I don't know. I get off a live sometimes and I have messages from people on their orders saying, I had so much fun tonight. Like, thank you for another great show. And I'm like, wow, that person was probably sitting on their couch after a rough day. And maybe I made them laugh and smile and they're going to go to bed happy, Or even what about all those people who didn't even buy anything? I'm able to give that to them and them feel like they're inclusive and part of something and maybe put a smile on their face while doing something that I love, So that's rewarding to me.
Yeah, what a great point. I know Tracy had said it in her episode too, is that the people on the other end of the screen are humans and they're spending time with you, if nothing else, and maybe spending money with you, both things that they cherish very dearly. And so just to be able to create a space, because it is a show, right? It's a business. I want to sell things. I would love to be profitable, right. But essentially it's a show. So you're putting on a show for people and they're going to stick around for the show. And to just know that, there might be 20 people in the room and maybe only one person buys something, but you're providing an experience for those 20 people. And then hopefully they'll tell someone and they'll come back and it can really help that organic growth.
For sure. Back to shows. I know a lot of people are nervous to do shows. My advice to you is to seek discomfort. Seek discomfort. And what I mean by that is I started watching a couple of people on Poshmark when I started. So I'd go into those same shows. And then I started watching people I didn't know. And then I got, chatty in the chat with people I didn't know. And then I got invited onto things with people that I didn't really know. That was very, very scary for me, but I did it anyways. It was really uncomfortable. But that's how you're going to be successful, is by stepping outside that comfort zone. Do you think that this is not nerve-wracking for me? I've been nervous about this for a month.
I reached out to Jenny, yep.
You have to do things that make you uncomfortable. Seek discomfort. I actually have a hoodie that says that. And I think that's the biggest piece of advice that I can give you. You can't just sit in the background and avoid all of that and be successful. You need to build these friendships, these connections, these relationships. It's even better when they're genuine, if you're able to do that. For me, it's been easy. I've met such wonderful people here on Posh, but you have to just step outside your comfort zone and take those opportunities, even if they're scary.
We make mistakes sometimes, and sometimes those opportunities are a huge flop as well. Yeah. But knowing at the end, rather than wondering what if, I totally agree with you. And yes, as soon as I messaged Jenny, the first thing she said is, that makes me really nervous and that's really outside of my comfort zone, and yes, I'll do it.
That's where you really like find yourself. You're like, you get off. I call it the post-Posh show munchies. I swear it's real.
Yes.
I'm on this high and I'm so happy and I'm doing my show, and then like I get off the show and I got the munchies. Do you get like that? Like, it's like, get me the snacks, get me the drinks, because it's like this adrenaline rush when you're doing something that makes you uncomfortable, and you get off and you're like, I did it. It's so it's silly, but it's true. Everybody gets those Posh show.
It is 100%
post-Posh show munchies. I don't care what you say.
It's the adrenaline dump, whatever the adrenaline dump is for you. It's definitely a snack for me. Go right downstairs, probably use the bathroom because I haven't been to the potty in 2 hours or so. Get a snack, chug some water, and snuggle a dog because I just need a quiet moment where my own voice is not in my head.
Yes, for sure.
And someone had asked, I know you said, I think about 1.5 years, but someone had asked how long you've been on Posh or selling Posh Live.
So I've been selling on Posh for 2 years. About 6 months in, I did my first live. So about 1.5 years, I've been doing lives. In the beginning, it was just kind of spontaneous. I don't sell on any other platforms. I have tried WN. I don't know if we could talk about other things here. Before.
We could talk about whatever we
want.
want.
I've been on Whatnot before. I've done a Whatnot show. I didn't love it, but I didn't have the community there. That's going to take time too, if that's something that I want to pursue. I really do enjoy Poshmark. I enjoy just the vibe here on Posh. I do have an eBay account, but I only list like high ticket items, that I feel would do better on that platform. But yeah, about 1.5 years I've been doing lives.
And Molly had asked, what would you go back and do anything differently?
I think just the way that I sourced in the beginning. Don't pick up that extra small shirt just because it's this bougie brand and it's hideous. Like, I used to be like, I'd find this shirt and it'd be in like a triple XS, and I'd Google it and it's worth $1 million. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to make so much money off of this. No, it's hideous and it is this big. I'm not going to sell that unless I find that one person who's looking for that. So like I said, I think that was my biggest mistake, is trying to please people, even though those pieces of clothing didn't make me happy. So now when I go out, I reach for those things that dopamine, wardrobe that make me happy, and I can sell that through the screen. Everybody sees that through the screen.
I feel like just while we're here, I need to know where the supply of Bob Ross socks come from.
I can't tell. I cannot.
That's okay. Don't give away your trade secrets.
And it's not a constant supply, so I get nervous when I'm running low. And I feel bad because I've only been giving them to people who buy in my shows. And I feel bad, but I'm like, hey, you got to be a buyer to get the Bob, Like, we only have a couple pairs here. They're dwindling.
They're a high ticket item, highly desirable, low supply, high demand. Yeah. And so we got to make sure we ration them to the people who are really going to appreciate them.
It's a big deal to be in the Bob Ross Club. So welcome to the club, my friend.
And I know we were talking about like selling items that you really love. And I can't stress that enough, is that even when I'm sourcing, if I'm like going in my head, I'm going through what I would say in my show. And if nothing comes to mind, if I'm not excited about it and I have nothing to say, or except it's a brown cable knit sweater, maybe if it's a good brand, I'll list it somewhere. But for the shows, like, it needs to be something that's going to catch people's attention but still be widely desirable enough that more than that one extra small, very expensive lady is going to be able to get it.
Also,
okay,
another huge mistake that I've made is I did a denim show once. This is a really good piece of advice. So when you're paying for additional labels, do not do a denim show and run denim for $5. Okay? I did this denim show. I had racks of denim. I had denim underwear, for God's sakes, and people were like so happy. I sold everything, and then I went to package everything, and I was in the negative with shipping. I was like, Jenny, So careful with your denim.
So you've given us a lot of great advice so far. I like to talk about kind of the 4 S's that for people who are getting into live selling or just reselling in general that could be helpful to talk about. So things like sourcing, how are you sourcing? Setup, if you're setting up for listing or for shows, how are you setting up for success? You talked a little bit about what makes your live show successful, but if there's anything else about selling that makes you successful. And then shipping, like you said, I didn't know that these denim boxes were gonna weigh 20 pounds. So kind of what your shipping process looks like and how you just put that all together to be a successful Poshmark business.
Sure. So as far as sourcing, I source mainly at thrift shops. We do have a bins here in Rhode Island now. I struggle with that. I enjoy the bins. I enjoy treasure hunting. But I think it's hard to find my unique style at the bins. I get lucky. It's kind of like if I go there, sometimes I find some selective pieces that I'm like, ooh, this works for me. But I really like to go out and actually go through racks, look for those colors and patterns, look for those fun pieces that people are going to be like, oh my gosh, if I don't get this right now, where am I going to get this? That's the fun of it, right? Is bringing these really fun, whimsical pieces to people that are going to make them happy. So as far as sourcing, mostly thrift. Keeping the cost of goods is always important because I am here to make money. We have that 20%, taken off the top. A lot of preparation goes into these shows. So I just want to let's make an example. If I pay $10 for a shirt, which I never really pay $10 unless I'm going to list something. Let's say I pay $10 for a shirt. If I run it for 10 and it sells for 10, I'm going to make $8. I went to the store, I sourced it. I spent all that time away from my family going through racks. I lugged it in my house. I probably washed it. I steamed it. I measured it. And then I spent 2 hours on Poshmark trying to sell it. Then I have to bag it up and ship it. So it's really important when you're sourcing, even if you see something that's magnificent, if the price isn't there, it's not worth your time. I think that's a big mistake that I made in the beginning. I was like, but this is so awesome. People are going to love this. You just never know. At the end of the day, when you're running a business, you have to make sure that your price point is there, even if something is out of this world, unless you're buying it for yourself. That's the only time I pay up. It's when I'm like, okay, I'm keeping this. As far as setup, I try to have all of the clothes in the background so that people can see what I have to offer if they're scrolling through. I like colors. I like eye-catching things where people are going to be like, ooh, what's that strawberry? I'm going to stick around and wait for that strawberry sweater. Let's face it, that's what people are going to notice. If you're in your bathroom doing a live show, people are going to be like, what the? As far as selling, I love train shows. It's an opportunity to meet new people, meet new buyers. They're fun. I think it's important to not just have one little click on Posh. I think you need to really network with different groups. I think that click kind of shows to the Posh community. And I've never been the clicky type. I mean, I, in high school, was best friends with the nerds all the way to the jocks. I'm kind of just a people's people. I think that's important on Posh, too. Get to know everybody. Don't just stick to the same crowd. You really need to just kind of network and work your way out into, the Posh streets. So selling, do your own personal shows, be consistent, try something like the Thrifty 50 so that you're setting those boundaries. And if you get an invite to a train show, even if you don't know anybody on the train, just show up, do it. If it's not your people, the next time you say, sorry, I have something else that day. Shipping, try to ship quickly. It can be overwhelming if you're doing back-to-back shows and you still haven't shipped out the previous show. I try not to procrastinate. I am a beautiful disaster. I wish I could tell you I have this shipping station. I'm usually sitting crisscross applesauce on my basement floor, shipping all your packages. I try to write love notes. I think it's more personal, even if you're just saying hey, thanks, love, Jenny. And get those things to the post office. When Christmas comes, bring your post people Christmas cookies. Tell them you appreciate them. They don't like me over there. I come barreling in with all my packages and they're like, we can do pickup. I'm like, I'm not leaving this stuff on my porch.
I do see I saw the strawberry one in the background. I saw you trying that one on in a show, and you were like, you tried it on to sell it, and then you're like, just kidding, I'm not selling this one.
That was actually a different one. I got all the strawberries.
What?
Yeah.
I know people are asking about just like what tips that you have. If someone wants to start doing shows, Molly had asked, what are some advice you would give them, which you kind of gave a little bit. And she said, do you have any tools that you use to make you successful? Do you have any second device? Do you use the number system? So someone who's like just starting shows, what other little tips and tricks do you have?
So for me, I don't have any like crazy tools. Okay. I kind of just keep it simple, stupid. I don't think you need to have this big organized system to do this on a small scale. I think once you kind of grow, maybe you want to get more organized, right? I feel like this can work for any type of person, like type A or type B personality. For me, I have baskets that I write people's names on if I'm just doing a random show. Sometimes I do numbers. I prefer numbers because of failed payments. So when you're in a show and you're running items, there's no way to tell if somebody's payment failed until you go to count up all your items and something's just not right. If you're doing numbers, I could run number 15. I could run number 15 and be like, congratulations. And then the next time I go to run something, 15 is still going to be there. And I'm going to be like, hey, Lisa, pay your bills, because people don't realize that their bank is flagging all this stuff. It's not that they don't have money. And that could really mess up your whole show if you're not on track with things. So not to mention, if you get to the end of the day and you're going through someone's basket to ship them, you don't know how much they paid for that sweater in the show. There's no way to tell. Like, they could have paid $30 for it. And here you are saying, okay, just give me 8. And somebody else was willing to pay 28 in that show. So you just have to be really mindful with sales. And I feel like numbers really keep you on track, and you're able to kind of backtrack and get the money for the item, that it went for.
And how about for setup for your devices? I saw you had your computer over here, and it looks like you're using your phone.
So I usually use my phone, and then I have my iPad that I run my items off of, and then I can go to my notifications or whatever and just kind of see what's going on. I used to use my husband's old iPhone, but I felt like my phone was actually distracting. So for me, I put my cell phone on Do Not Disturb. I put it up there. If I had my cell phone over here, it would be going off. I'd be looking at notifications. So I use my cell phone for my shows, and then I use my iPad to kind of navigate and run listings. Then a ring light, some decor, some racks. You want to make sure here's my biggest piece of advice. I have bought probably 100 crappy racks off Amazon. Okay, I've wasted so much money on crappy racks. Get the expensive rack. Just, if you're going to do this, am I wrong? If you're going to do this, go get the expensive rack. Get the expensive rack. I remember when I first started doing Poshmark shows, I was like in the middle of showing something, and my sister was watching me, which is so humiliating. And the whole rack came down on me. And I was just like, and my stepson, who resides behind my clothing over here in the finished basement, I'm like, Dylan! And he had to come and like take the rack off of me. And I was like, I gotta go, bye. And like, just ended my show like that. And I didn't go on for like a month. I was like, oh my God, that was so humiliating. Everybody saw that rack take me out. But I came back. Everything's fine. But my point is, don't skimp on your equipment. Like, if you're going to do it, don't waste all your money, on those cheesy racks. Like, get a good one.
I'm so glad you said that, because the first thing that came to mind is that you have not been a Poshmark live seller until your rack has fallen down on you. I think it's happened to every single person. I started in my closet, so I was just hanging stuff like in my regular closet. So you don't need a rack. But if you are, it's going to fall on you. At some point, it's going to fall on you. So just, these are like, I don't know. I think mine was like $75 on Amazon, but it's a perfect investment. And if you don't end up using it for shows because you don't want to do shows anymore, you could resell it on Facebook Marketplace or put it in your guest bedroom and hang all your beautiful clothes on it in there and make yourself a little pampered room.
Yeah, don't skimp. And my sister still jokes about that. She's like, remember the time the rack? I'm like, yes, I remember.
Too bad it's not like Whatnot where they screen record your show. So you could have had that, memorized. You could have had it on video for your whole life.
It's so funny because my niece and nephew, they watch me on Posh and they're always like, Mom, she's on. And that day when the rack fell on me, Max, my nephew, was like, Mom, can you rewind that? Because he wanted to watch it again. And she's like, it doesn't work like that. We can't rewind it. I was like, thank God.
We love a good fail video, right? That would have made like a great fail video. You would have went viral. And you had spoken that, I agree, networking is hugely important on Poshmark. I was in my own little corner of the universe. Melanie, Graceful Knit, had invited me onto her train show. That's where I had first met you. And I can't tell you how much my business has grown since then, to be able to learn from you all, but also just to like say hi to you in your show, and then I meet somebody else and then go to their show and say hi to somebody else. So you don't have to go to Posh Fest. You can do it right from your cozy little bed in your PJs. Yes. But Combined number 7 had asked, how do you even get with someone when it's almost impossible to chat unless a purchase has been made? Now she might be talking about like after maybe a mistake has been made, how do you chat with somebody? Or like there's no way to chat with somebody on Poshmark, right? Like unless I create a bundle, there's really no way to chat with you. So when it comes to networking, what have you found successful for you to find new people and reach out and like really make those connections that help you grow in your business?
So I do think that Poshmark has to come up with a better chatting system. I think it would help like build those relationships between sellers and buyers. I think it's frustrating sometimes. Sometimes you just have a basic question. I always recommend, it's not ideal, but reaching out to me on Instagram, which is hilarious because I'm terrible with that too. I'm always like, just hit me up on my beeper or my flip phone. I'm pretty...
You do say that.
But reaching out on a different platform, I know that's discouraged, but there really isn't a good way to communicate unless you're typing through that order, through a purchase, unfortunately.
When it comes to making connections, I mean, I know even sellers who have a lot of people in their show, they'll see your name pop up a bunch of times. Like I have a lot of buyers who buy from me consistently, and even people who don't buy from me at all, and they just continue to come back to my show. So don't feel like I'm one person and they're not going to see me. We see you and we appreciate you being there and we appreciate the chat. So like Jenny had said, don't be afraid to go out of your comfort zone. We want you to talk. We want to see you. So that's a great way to start making connections and just get to know people. Because then they'll start saying hi and then they'll reach out to you.
Exactly. And I love shopping other people's shows and seeing my buyers in those shows. I'm like, hey, like I'll shop with them. I'll fight them for that shirt, And that's the fun of it is, I think, not saying that if you're selling on Poshmark, you have to buy, but you can still be active in the chat and have conversations with people. It's helping the seller. You're communicating with your buyers. When you don't have the spotlight on you, that's your opportunity to be like, hey, how's it going? And just recognize that you appreciate them. So yeah, I think just being active on Poshmark doesn't necessarily mean going into people's shows and buying, but just conversation. A seller's not going to care if you're filling up that chat.
And I think that's important too, is that you don't have to shop to make connections on Poshmark. And even if you're not connecting with the seller, like if I'm hanging out in Jenny's show, you'll see me talking to everyone else in the chat, right? So a lot of times the seller isn't even involved in the conversation. You can just meet a lot of people in the chat. And then you're going to go to maybe Melanie's show and you're going to see those same buyers that Jenny's then talking to in the chat. So it's a very strange but organic way to make genuine friendships. Like this is the first time Jenny and I have ever talked face to face. But because I see her on screen and she sees me on screen and we text off screen, like I feel like we have a genuine friendship. So it's a weird thing, but the friendships here are very, very genuine.
Very true.
For shipping, do you have a printer for labels so you can drop off your packages? And if so, do you recommend any? And I'm sure other sellers might have recommendations too, so y'all feel free to drop your recommendation.
I have no idea which label printer I have. I think I just went on Amazon and just checked out the reviews. When I first started, I was just printing on my regular printer. It gets very expensive with ink. The thermal printer is definitely where it's at. It's so easy. You can bulk print all of your labels after a show. So yes, I do recommend the label maker, and they're not that expensive. You can actually get a decent one. You can get a decent one for what, like 50, I think I paid like 50 something dollars for mine. So it's not like it's, hundreds of dollars, as far as investment. And also I do like the cutesy little poly mailers and stuff because I think it's more personal, but at the end of the day, utilize the free supplies. It is coming out of your profit. And everyone should invest in stock in packing tape because I go through so much packing tape. It's ridiculous. Do you agree?
I do. We get them in bulk from Amazon. They're just on repeat. So I think we get like 12 rolls at a time, and I'm not sure how often they come, but I mean, I have my tape gun here between making boxes and doing orders. I go through tape like it's going out of style.
Yeah, but thermal printer for sure, if like this is serious. If you're just selling out of your closet, it's not a big deal, to print like a label a couple of times a week on your regular laser printer. But if you're doing shows, like sometimes I have 30 something labels to print at the end of my show. And that's just not going to work. You can go to the post office and scan the QR code, but that's more time consuming, right? So it's worth the investment to just get that time.
I agree. Thermal label printer, that is a little bit of an investment up front because you do need to buy it. Then you got to download whatever for your computer so they're compatible. You do have to buy the 4x6 labels, but once you start, you are going to like kick yourself in the butt for printing out paper and cutting it and taping the whole label.
Yep. It's a game changer for sure.
And if it rains and you printed it and you didn't cover the whole thing and any part of the name is gone or any part of the scan code is gone, that buyer is unfortunately SOL and not getting their package. I know you've made so many great connections on Poshmark, so a big question, but do you have some maybe like top moments that jump out to you in your shows? And then maybe conversely to that, do you have some moments that besides the rock falling on you that stand out to you as like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened?
So I'm going to start with the bad.
It probably jumps to your mind more quickly,
right? I'm
right?
going to say this because I'm such an empath. I feel everything. I'm an overthinker. You're never going to make everybody happy. You're going to find some amazing people on Poshmark, and there's always going to be those trolls. There's always going to be those miserable people. I've had people come into my show, and I had one lady tell me I needed to be quiet. I was talking too loud, and I was just, it really disturbs the whole vibe of the show, and it's hard to recover from that when somebody comes into your show and they're being like straight up rude or like, hello, I asked for you to show me that sweater. When you're behind this camera putting on a show, I have 1,000 things going through my mind here. I'm trying to organize over here. The chat's going wild. I can hear my dogs barking upstairs. There's a lot involved in putting on a live show. I'm human. So to come on my show and attack me, it makes you overthink things like, am I doing a good job? Oh, shoot, did she ask for that 10 times? Like, it's a them problem. And you're always going to have those rude people that come in. Luckily, there's more good people than rude people on Poshmark, but don't let it affect you. You're going to get a 4-star review or a 1-star review on a giveaway that was free. Don't lose sleep over it. I remember I got a 4-star review and I was like, I overthought that review for 2 weeks. And I'm like, who flipping cares? That person wasn't happy to begin with. Look at all my 5-star reviews and all the people who are happy with what I bring to the table. So don't let, their negativity be a reflection of who you are and what you have to offer. I forgot what your initial question was, because now I'm going on this rant about not letting people affect your energy.
A great point to bring out. I think I've had 2 negative reviews in the past 2 days, and I just before the show I was brushing my teeth, and it's just living rent free in my head, right?
Yeah.
You just like keep playing it over and over. So it's gonna happen to everyone, and it sucks, and it says a lot more about them than it does about you. So just to know that it's not you, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen in reviews. It's going to happen in messages. It's going to happen live in the show. So though that was some of the negative experiences, or if you have any funny experiences you want to share, but like, do you have any moments that stand out to you as like, that was a really cool moment, or I love seeing that happen, whether that was in your show or somebody else's show?
I've had some really awesome train shows where like that room is packed and things are going so well, and I just feel so amped. That's one of the best feelings, is when the energy is good, everybody's having a good time, everybody's laughing. I can remember, I'm famous for my phone dying during train shows. I don't know what it is, but I can remember I was on a train show, and this was recent, and my phone died, and I thought it would be funny to like switch to my iPad, and I was literally like with a double chin on the camera, and I'm like, sorry guys, and I'm making this like ridiculous face, and all of a sudden this huge raid comes in, like as I'm making, I think P31 home raided me. So then there's like 170 people just watching me do a double chin saying, sorry guys, my phone died. And that was like freaking hilarious. And I mean, I was embarrassed, but I thought it was awesome timing. So I've had a lot of fun shows too. And you know what? You just kind of roll with it, and it just shows people that you're human. I don't think we should take life too seriously. I mean, take it seriously, but don't, just be you. Just be you.
That's the best advice that she can give, is be authentic to you, because I think you will surely attract your people. The people who are nasty or in the chat, they're probably not going to come back. So you'll just start weeding out the people who you don't want there, and you'll attract the people who you do want there.
Exactly.
And you had said that you can feel when the energy is good. You can feel when the chats pop in. It feels really good to sell things and to have people bid on things. But surely shows don't start off like that. So whether, and I still have shows that don't feel great when I hop off. So on a day where your show isn't feeling great, or when you were first starting shows and things weren't going great, how were you able to navigate that? And kind of what advice would you give to those of us who are still navigating that?
So for me, when I'm watching a show, I feel like if I'm watching a show and it's not going well, I love when a person can just keep going. Like, okay, I don't care if people aren't going to buy anything. I'm just going to run through this rack at a good speed, and I'm going to act like this is just show and tell, and I'm going to show you all these wonderful things that I found. It keeps that energy up. If I'm like, nobody's buying anything, okay, do you want me to run this? Or $5, oh my God, if somebody's complaining,
that's hard,
or they're like, oh, nobody's buying today, it's kind of a turn off for me. So when I'm doing a show, even if I feel that way sometimes, like, what the heck, they don't like my stuff, I just try to keep going at a steady pace and just go through that rack, keep those people engaged. Maybe there's something on that rack they're gonna like, right? I'm here, like with the Thrifty 50, I'm here to do these 50 items, whether I sell 50 of them or I sell 2. So I think it's important to just push through and not let that fear of them not liking what you have to offer reflect in the show. Don't look at that number. Don't look at how many, people are watching you. Don't look at how many people left, just act like you have a room full of people and they love what you have to offer, and just keep going through those items. I also think that you should run everything. I think people are really shy and they're not going to say run. I think when they see that blue button there, they're like, oh, I want that, So yeah, I think just be consistent, act like things are selling. I think your energy definitely reflects on screen, and just be, mindful of that. And sometimes people, you got to find the right buyer in the right size, in the right moment, who just got paid, or who has that dance to go to. That's what this is all about.
It's definitely not fake it till you make it, but in that essence, it is like create the show that you'd want to be in, right? You want to walk in and see Jenny in this hat, and you want to just see her showing stuff and dancing around and having positive energy. I know my rack is behind me, so sometimes if I'm just not feeling it, I'll turn around and like make funny faces to myself, and that way I can turn back around and smile. But yes, I would totally agree with that. Run the show as if there are 500 people in there, and just show every item as if you're confident that it's going to sell, and just know that it's not going to sell and think that it is, so that way there's no expectation, because comparison is the thief of joy. Having that expectation is definitely going to take away your joy.
Right. And I think not that everyone needs to go do a thrifty 50, but if you're starting off with a show, you know, put 40 things on your rack or 25 things on your rack and be like, I'm going to go on, I'm going to start a giveaway, and I'm going to run through these 20 things. And then I'm going to say, everybody, here's my live listing. Thanks for looking at what I've got. And then you get off. You know, maybe next week when you show up with 20 more things, you'll have more people in the room. But just so that you're not just pulling things, you don't know when to get off, just be like, here's my rack. It kind of gives you that out too, where you're like, okay, I've showed everything. Does anyone want me to, you know, re-show any of these things? And then you can get off, like, you know, in a way that it doesn't seem like you're frustrated and you didn't sell anything, so I'm out of here.
Yeah. I always feel obligated to stay on because people are like, oh, I just bought one thing and I want a bundle.
That's the other thing.
And just know that, yeah, you're in control of your shows, and say like, I'm so sorry. I showed everything. I got to go wash my kids' underwear. Yeah. I'll catch you next time. It was such a beautiful organic conversation. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Kind of bantering with me. And I know sometimes when we follow this stream of consciousness, there might be something that we miss. So I just want to give you an opportunity, if there's anything that you had been thinking about in your spiraling before this, or just any message that you wanted to give before we wrap it up.
I think I just wanted to bring to the table today that maybe this isn't for everyone. Maybe you're a better shopper, you know, than a seller. I feel like if it's something that brings you joy, then go for it. And you're not going to know until you try. Show up, either be yourself or don't do it. You know, it's really hard to like hold up and act, right? You can't come on trying to be like that person who's got 150 people in their room, because that's going to be exhausting for you. This is tiring enough. Show up your authentic self. Be grateful, be appreciative, and just don't be afraid to just step outside your comfort zone and really just dive into it. I mean, there's nothing to really be afraid of. What's the worst that can happen? End show. Like, end show. You just press the button.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, I think you need to just try your best and give yourself grace. Like I said, you know, stop being so hard on yourself. Show up, put in the time. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
Thank you for meeting us early. And since we've had this conversation with you, we want more of you. So tell us where we can find you, what you got coming up, how can we get more Jenny and more Be Kind 818?
So the next couple of weeks are a little wonky just because of the holidays. I'm on the bargain bus on a Thursday morning. I'm actually kicking off the bargain bus. That show is bookmarked under my account. So that's at 8 a.m. So I think you should all set your alarms for that. Those are $5 starts, and I have some fire items, nice colorful things. Maybe the strawberry sweater will be there. We'll see. And then I try to do the thrifty 50 2 times a week. So that's my goal starting in January, is to do that show 2 times a week. Probably not on a set day just because of schedules and stuff, but it will be scheduled ahead of time so people can see, you know, when I'm going to be on. And then also you can catch me on the Trendy Treasures train. I do that train once or twice a month, which is awesome. You'll see me on the Posh streets. And if you see me, say hello.
I did put the Trendy Treasures train. I know Mel's been in the chat. This is the one that she put together that kind of brought all of us together. And she's having a big blowout on January 28th and 29th. So we have, I think, 18 sellers, 30 plus hours. And then put a heart on Jenny's Thrifty 50 so you can see all of her favorite items and get in and get out, get shopping, get lots of good stuff, and then get back to your real life. And so, Jenny, again, thank you. I know your time is precious, and I have learned so much from you. I remember after the very first train show, I sent a message to the chat that said, I just need to know how to be like Jenny when I grow up. And so I appreciate you like being there for me and popping into my shows, purchasing from me, supporting me. I've learned so much from you, and to have this opportunity to get to chat with you has meant a lot. And I'm so glad that you were able to share so much information. That's going to get to go to so many more people because you can catch the recording on YouTube.
Well, I appreciate you, Lisa, and you're such a good friend. You're such a good person, and you're such an inspiration. Like you're taking all these leaps of faith and doing all these new exciting things that are scary, and you're like kicking butt. So I'm super proud of you. Everybody needs to be like Lisa. Like, look at her. She's doing a podcast. She has the Monday morning commute. She's coming up with all these ideas. I mean, this is a creative outlet. And you're utilizing that, and rock on, girl. Like, I'm super proud of you, and I'm here for it. So anything you need, I'd love to be a part of it. And I'm really proud of you.
Oh, thank you. I don't know, you texted me after a show or something and you said I'm really proud of you. I'm like, oh my God, Jenny's proud
Sometimes
of me.
we need to hear it. We know how hard this really is. And sometimes, you need to just reach out to your friends who are in the same boat as you and be like, you're doing a good job. Like, I've seen this awesome change in you, and that's important.
Thank you all for being here. You can catch the replay on YouTube. We have the Posh Podcast coming up next week on, I want to say, Tuesday, curated by Rach. So check it out.
Thank you for showing up.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Over, Jenny. Love you so much. Thanks for doing this. All right, bye.